So the first thing that we're going to do is have our paper go up and down, and in the top left corner we're going to draw a 2" by 2" box. I'm going to line my ruler up straight, and remember you have to start from the 0 and drag to the 2. Then I'm going to turn my ruler sideways, start at the 0, go to the 2, see, 0 to 2, and I'm going to do the same over here in the right corner. I'm going to leave some middle space here to explore some different things later. So on the right side, I will go from 0 to 2. Make sure that my ruler is as straight as possible. 0 to 2. Oops. 2 to 0 or 0 to 2, same difference. And then complete the square. I messed up a little right here. I'll take my time erasing so that I don't bend my paper. This is the square where we practice our realistic colors of the honeycomb, and this is the square where you are going to explore with different colors. In order to do realistic honeycomb hexagons, you want a wide V. Let's try a wide upside down V in the middle. This is like our little practice area. So here's what I mean by a not wide V. That's not very wide. That's like a normal upside down V. We want a very wide V. Just practice that. Very wide V. So the reason why we want to practice having a very wide V is because if our V's are too narrow, like that's a narrow V, our hexagon pattern is going to come out kind of scrunched up like this. We want a wide V so that our pattern will come out more realistic. So let's finish off our hexagon by simply drawing another straight line down, and then bringing in the V. You might have to make some adjustments, like I made some adjustments there. We're now going to do a smaller version of this inside of our box. I know that I have this done dark so that it will show up on the camera, but we're going to end up erasing this. I know it doesn't make sense now, but these are measurement lines. When we do the next steps, please remember to do them nice and light, because we're going to erase these particular lines. So we're about to do the same, except smaller inside of our left box. In the middle of the left box, I'm going to put a smaller, very wide V. Then draw a line going down, another one going down, bring it in, and finish connecting it. Now, let's try to do the rest of them very, very light. I know that I did that one kind of hard, but we're going to end up erasing all of this. These are actually measurement lines. So a whole lot lighter than what you did draw a little line going up from it like this. A nice little line going down. See, this is a V. We want to make another wide V, except it's going right side up this time. Nice little white line going up. This is another V. Another. We want to make sure that they're wide. See, if I made it go up too much, it'd be too narrow of a V. Here's going to be an upside down one. Nice and wide. This is going to be another upside down one. I made that too wide actually. You can end up doing that. So then I'll come up here to this one and I'll do another straight up line. Come up here and do another straight up. Almost looks like a spider. Come down to this side. Go straight down. Down. Look, we've created another, we're going to do another upside down V. Make sure that it's nice and wide. We can do the V that's going up here. And I can finish that shape. Come over here, finish that V. Here's another V. Going to make an upside down V here, but it's going to go a little bit off of the paper. Yours might stay on the paper depending on how big you made your hexagons. We're now just going to finish everywhere where you can make a hexagon. Here's another V. Here's another upside down V. Finish that there. Upside down V. Now we have our measurement lines. So it's a good thing that you practiced over here, because I'm going to refer to this larger hexagon shape frequently, and then we'll do it in the smaller ones. Inside of the hexagons, we are going to draw another hexagon inside of it. And this is very close to the original lines. Going to end up, and do this on your practice one as well, drawing a hexagon inside of the hexagon. Go ahead and do that and pause the video until you have. Now we're going to do that for all of these. I'm going to draw hexagons. I'm going to hug the lines, make these lines as close to the original lines as possible. Take your time, it is time consuming, but it's going to look very good and realistic. Go ahead and fill up all of your hexagons. Yes, even like this down here, that still would have made a hexagon. Like, I still need to make the inner hexagon inside of these ones that are on the edges. Even though this hexagon's going off of the page, I still need to make a hexagon inside of this as well. Even though these are off of the page, hexagons that are inside of the original hexagons. Sometimes your hand won't be steady, you'll make mistakes. That's why we're doing it in pencil. Try to make it as clean and as neat as possible. When you're done, it's going to look like this. So go ahead and sharpen your brown colored pencil, and I'll show you on my big one first, and you can practice on your big one. I'm only going to outline the inner hexagon. I'm only outlining, I'm leaving the outside one alone, and it's very easy to see when it's by itself. Now I really have to focus. I only can outline my inner hexagons with the brown, because we are actually going to erase the outside ones. Coming in, outlining only the inside hexagons. Yes, even the ones in the corners. Now I'm going to take my eraser and gently small circle and erase those original hexagons. And I'm going to not erase the brown, leave the brown alone. Taking my time. Holding down the edge of my paper if I do any large movements so that I don't accidentally fold my paper. Okay. So you're going to go ahead and take your white. If you're working on white paper, just keep in mind to keep these areas white. So everywhere where there's a space in between that goes up and down, like here's a space in between that goes up and down, I'm just gonna go back and forth and add some white highlights. Here is a space that goes up and down in between the hexagon. Another space that goes up and down in between. Some of them I'll keep it kind of dull, some of them I'll make it kind of vivid. So I added some highlights like that. Maybe it doesn't show up on the camera just yet. Then on the bottoms of all of my hexagons, I'm not going to press that hard. I'm just going to small circle in a little bit of white. It's barely noticeable right now. And for my virtual students who are working on white paper, just remember to keep the bottoms of the hexagons nice and white. You're going to take your golden yellow, or in this pack it's called custard yellow, and you're going to small circle in some very light golden yellow. Don't go over your highlights over the whole thing. This is not meant to make it incredibly yellow. We are laying down a powder layer just like any other professional artist would do. Remember, virtual students, whenever you lay down this powder layer, try to skip over the areas that we made white. So you'd be skipping over the in-between up and down parts of the hexagons. and kind of skipping over the bottom parts of the hexagons. It's barely noticeable, but it's important, laying in a foundation. Now we're going to take our light brown. If you don't have a light brown, just use your regular. In this set, it's called Toasted Toffee. I don't know, they get so fancy. And on the insides of the hexagons, I'm just going to lay in a very light powder layer. I'm going to mix so many more things into this, so I'm just keeping it nice and light, only on the insides of the hexagons. Even on my little down ones. Nice little powder layer of light brown. Oh, I can tell I missed a spot right there when I was outlining. We're going to take our regular brown, or you're just going to push harder down on the brown if you didn't have one for the last step. I'll show you in my free hexagon. We're going to create another V and then fill it in. So I've made another V and I'm filling it in. So I'm going to do that to all of mine. Inside of my hexagon, I'm making another V and then filling it in. It's kind of a thick upside down V, and we're actually only going to do upside down V's on all of our hexagons. Go ahead and do the upside down V on all of them. If they're down here at the bottom, then it ends up that you just fill them in, if that's just how that works out. Now I'm going to take my purple and do a very level 6 pressure outline just at the top part of my hexagons. I'm not filling in the whole thick upside down V. I'm just going back to that original hexagon line and pushing down pretty hard and laying down a hard purple outline. You might need to sharpen your colored pencil for this. You're already going to start to see this part being pulled off of the page and the insides of the hexagon being pushed into the page. You're then going to take your black and you're only outlining the right side of each hexagon. So I'll show you over here. Yes, I go back over my purple, down, and back over. It's just the right down, slant it down, straight down, slant it down, right side. So I'll start with this one. You really need to sharpen your colored pencil for this. Only outlining the right sides. And it's okay to outline it wider. It actually makes it look better if you outline on the outside instead of on top. Let's do that. Outline it on the outer side. Just the right side, so you have to think that's considered a right side of things. add some color pops. I'm only going to add this to the upper left slant on the outside of each hexagon. So up here, that's the upper left slant. Just gave it a little color pop. Here is another upper left slant. Let's see, do I have them all? Yeah, I have them all. I'm then going to take my brown, but definitely not as dark as my V. I'm going to go left to right and add more shadow in there, but I'm going to stop. There's like a triangle. I'm going to stop right here and let that triangle be. So inside of here, I'm going to come down and there's going to be a free triangle right there. I'm going to do that for all of them, leaving that triangle alone. This is helping to push the inside of the honeycomb back into space. Leaving that inner triangle alone. Oh wait, finish that. I shouldn't have put that there because that's the bottom part of the inner triangle. I skipped this one. Real honeycombs, they're not all the same on the inside, so get your mahogany. This one, it's a ruby red. There's no mahogany in the Crazy Art set. It's a bit too red, so I'm not gonna get that crazy with it. Choose a random honeycomb and do some up and down motions just to lay a little bit of mahogany or a different contrast color in there. I want some of these to be different. In fact, I want these particular ones to be a bit darker. I'll grab a darker colored pencil and just make the whole thing darker in general. That makes it a lot more realistic to have a variety. So we've outlined and put a hard shadow into the right of the hexagons. We're now going to small circle and kind of fade out the left side. So on the outside of the honeycombs, outside hexagon, we're going to do small circles and just make them a little hazy on the outside, and just on the left, just a bit hazy. You need to watch the video over again and create it in different colors in this box over here. For those of you who are working on white paper, you probably need to add more yellow to it. And you might even still want to add, I'm not using the golden yellow, I'm using the regular yellow, just some random regular yellow accents throughout it. Kind of thoughtless about it, just kind of little spurts of yellow, then you're done. So on the box on the right, you're going to re-watch the video again, and you're still going to do every single step that I do. You're just going to choose a different color than the color that I say. I will make the exception. If I say white in the video, then you can go ahead and do the white. if I say add black in the video, then you can go ahead and do black where I say black. All of the other colors though, you need to experiment with different types of layers of colors. This is actually teaching you how the colored pencils work, how they blend, what colors go with what. You don't have to make yours look like mine. I did a bit of like a rainbow. You can choose to do every hexagon the exact same color. It just can't look anything like the original one. Once you are done, take a picture with both of your boxes in it, because I want to be able to see your regular color honeycomb and your non-traditional colored honeycomb at the same time. Upload this into the Project 15 folder where it says Submit Work.